Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie Thiessen and I'm your GelMoment independent distributor. Today I'm going to show you how to do the nail art that I have on my accent nails, the flowers and the stripes. And so I'm going to show you guys how to do that using GelMoment gel polish. It's a really simple design, but it adds a nice little bit of flair to your next manicure. So I have some nail sticks here. I'm going to show you guys how to do that on. We'll start with the flowers. So I'm just going to move these brushes out of the way. So we're going to start with the flowers, and I have a base coat of lovey-dovey on my nail stick here, and so I'm going to take the GelMoment dotting tool, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the smallest end of the dotting tool. So I want to make really small dots on the nail stick for the flowers. So I'm going to start by using, I have my colors here, I Pink You, Flamingo Blossom, Emerald Envy, and then my mix of Amalia and Lovey Dovey. So I'm going to start by using I Pink You. We'll do just a little dot of polish on there, and we're just going to create a flower doing the dots. So we're just going to start here. We'll do one there, a little bit more polish, do another one here, grab some more polish, and you just keep going around in a circle until you get that flower design. Now with GelMoment you can really easily just wipe it off if it's not in the shape that you want it to be. Maybe it doesn't have quite the petals that you're looking for. That's okay, you can wipe it off and start again, or you can just keep working it out until you get that flower look. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flash cure this so that it doesn't get wiped off. And so I'm just going to do a 10-second cure on it, and that's going to help just solidify it just enough that if I need to clean off any mistakes that I make, it's not going to wipe off that flower. So there we go. And we're going to go ahead again with the I Pink You. We'll do another one down here. Just getting the dots in. And you just keep going around in a circle and working those petals out till you get that flower shape. And then I'm going to go ahead and flash cure that one as well. I'm going to open up my cleanser pad here just to clean off my dotting tool as I move to the next color. It's about 10 seconds on that one. So I'm going to move to Flamingo Blossom now. So I'm going to grab a little dot of that one. And we'll work up to the top here. We'll kind of make it in the corner a little bit. So I'm going to put a dot here. Grab a little bit more. Put another dot here. And another one here. Just kind of fill it in there. And so now what I'm going to do is to make these petals a little bit bigger. Just going to tap on them in a kind of a circular pattern just to make them a little bit larger. And then I'm going to fill in this area here, just using the dotting tool. Now you don't want to put too much in here or it will not cure properly. But you want to just put enough in to fill it in. And there we go. So we're going to flash cure that one as well. About 10 seconds, just so that if I need to wipe off anything else that I don't wipe off what I have already done that I like. About 10 seconds there. And then we're going to do another flower design down here. Make the circle of the dot a little bit larger. You just keep going around until you get that flower design. And then fill in the middle. So there we go. I'm going to pop that in the lamp. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give that a full cure so that because I'm finished with all the flowers that I'm going to do on there right now. You can fill it in more, add more flowers if you want to. Just make sure that you leave room for the petals. But for my design, I only had the 4 flowers on my nail there. So I'm going to show you with the 4 flowers on the nail stick. So this is a full 45-second cure using the professional GelMoment lamp. And as soon as the light turns off, then it is ready to go. So now what you can do is you can either do another coat inside those flowers to just fill in the color so that it's more of a pronounced color. If you don't want to do that and you're happy with how it looks when it comes out of the lamp, then you can move on to the next step. So there we go. Got our flowers cured. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of our brushes from our creativity set. It's one of the ultra fine brushes. It's very, very small. You can see in comparison on the nail stick here, it's a very small one. Now, if you don't have the creativity set, you can also use a wooden cuticle pusher or a toothpick. Those work really good as well. You could even use a dotting tool, but it's a little bit harder with a blunt end. You need more of a fine end to do this next part. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually do the dots in the middle of the flowers. So we're going to take our ultrafine brush, and this is the shorter ultrafine brush. So we have 2. I'll show you the long one. These are the 2. There's also a third that's a little bit kind of in the middle. So I'm using the short one. So I've got just a little bit of Emerald Envy on the end of the brush there, and I'm just going to do a dot in the middle of the flower. A very fine dot. I'm going to take just a tad more, and I'm going to do another dot on this flower. And it doesn't need to be like a perfect circle. That's not really the look that we're going for. Otherwise, I would use the dotting tool, but we're just wanting to make it a green dot in the center of the flower. So there we go. Now we're going to make the smaller dots on the inside around the petals of the flower, more of like an accent. So I'm going to grab a little bit of the Emerald Envy, and I'm just going to actually wipe off. There's usually a little bit of a ball of polish on the tip, and so I just wipe that off because I don't want too much. I want very fine dots when I'm doing this. So I'm just going to do dot here, and just go around until you're satisfied with how it looks. Just keep going around on each flower. And then the last one. And there we go. So now I'm going to flash cure that one again, and I'm going to wipe off my brush I'm just using the cleansing pad here to wipe it off, just to get any of that green off. If you're going in between colors, you want to make sure that you're doing that really well, just to clean in between each of the bristles. I'm going to use the Emerald Envy again for the petals. So now that we've done our little dots in our flowers, we're going to take our ultrafine brush again, and we're going to take some Emerald Envy, a little bit more than what we used for the dots, but I still don't want that huge ball of polish on the tip. So I'm going to start in the petal here, and do the leaves, and we're just going to drag it and create that leaf-like look. You can see how easy that was just to drag it in that way. And so you can do double petals or single petals, or leaves, I should say. And you can see how easy it is to make those fine lines with this ultra fine brush. And so I'm going to do another one over here. And if you make a mistake, you can wipe it off because we flash cured all of those ones there with the little dots in the middle of our flowers. And just grab a little bit more polish here. Not too much, don't want that ball on there, otherwise it'll make a bit of a blob on the petal, make the petal a bit too thick. I'm just going to add one more to this flower here, and then I'll switch to a different color. So there we go. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe off my brush and I'm going to flash cure that again because we're happy with how that looks. Flash cure it one more time. Clean off my brush. I'm going to move to my mixed color. So this is Lovey Dovey and Amalia to make this really nice kind of turquoise green. And so because my accent nails are that color, we drew that color into the design here as well. So if you're finding that your brushes are kind of, or your bristles are splitting just a little bit, just twist them in between your fingers to kind of make them one kind of fine brush again. And you can do that in the alcohol swab as well. So there we go. Go ahead and grab some more of our polish here. And so we're going to grab the mix of Amalia and Lovey Dovey. Just a little bit. Just trying to get those bristles back together again. There we go. Okay, and so let's do a double one here. Just grab a bit more polish. There we go. And we can do a single one here. Making that really fine. I'll do one on this one too. I'll make that one a double. There we go. And if you're not happy with any of them or you'd like to fill them in a bit more, you can go back over them, or you can cure and then you can go back over it again. So it's really, really simple to do these flowers with the little bit of the petals on them. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and pop that under the lamp and we'll do a full cure on that one. I'm going to clean off my brush again. And then to seal it in, all we need to do is a coat of Clearly Frisky. So I'm going to show you guys how to do the fine lines here, the stripes on my accent finger. So I'm going to be using the ultra fine long brush. Now using this brush makes it really easy to do these lines nice and straight. And I'll show you guys why when I do them. But I'm going to finish off with this one here. We'll grab our Clearly Frisky to do a coat of Clearly Frisky over top and to seal it in. Almost done. There we go. So then we just do a coat of Clearly Frisky over top. Nice thin coat, making sure that we're covering the whole nail. Grab a bit more. Make sure that you cap the nail when you are finished up with the Clearly Frisky. Of course, this is the nail stick, so I'm not going to cap it. We're going to pop that in there under the lamp, and I'm going to make sure I close my bottle. So now we're going to go and we're going to move over to doing the stripes, and I'm going to grab my nail stick and my ultra fine brush. Now, you can use other kinds of brushes, or you can use like a toothpick or a dotting tool, or even one of these wooden cuticle pushers. But I find doing the straight lines is a lot easier with the ultra fine brush. And I'm going to show you guys how. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to put a little bit of I Pink You on it. Now I don't want too much. You can see I got a little bit on there. It's not a whole bunch. And what I like to do is when I'm doing this, I will hold my hand sideways and pull it across the nail like this. That is how I prefer to do it. That's how I find it the easiest. So pop that over there. So I'm going to grab a bit more polish on there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the tip of the nail. And I'm going to go Just going to hold up this nail stick here so you guys can see a bit better. I'm going to go across the tip of the nail. And so when you pull it, when you pull the polish across the nail and you pull the brush down, the brush will go down in a straight line. Just gonna grab a bit more on there. Down straight. The nail stick is obviously bigger than what my natural nail is, so it's needing a bit more polish on the brush to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually filling in the whole tip of the nail here. Just going to fill this all in here so it's one stripe, one line. Pull it all down. So you could do this with a bit of a bigger brush. Our nails are smaller, so it won't take you as long to fill in the tip of the nail with a smaller brush. Okay, getting close there. So I'm just looking at it to see how straight it is, and it looks like it needs a bit more on this side. So I'm just going to go over it again on this side. And then a little bit more down the sides. And there we go. I think that's a pretty straight line. So I'm going to pop that under here and we're going to cure for about 10 seconds. Again, we're going to flash cure it. And then we're going to go ahead and do our second line. So you start at the tip of the nail and then you work your way back. That way you can have even lines so that it's evenly spread out on the nail. Grab a bit more polish. So now you need to decide how thick you want your lines and how many you want to apply to the nail. So I'm going to go about here. That's a good distance. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have enough polish on my brush, and I'm going to pull the brush down the nail. You see how it makes that straight line instead of me trying to move the nail or trying to make it make the polish do the work. I am making the brush do the work. So I'm just pulling it down along in a straight line. And then I'm going to go ahead and just keep adding this polish to this line. And then I'm going to have a look at it and see how straight it is. So turn and look this way, and so you can see I've got more polish down on this side here than I do on the other side. So what I can do is if I take my other brush, I have this kind of tapered brush, and I just run it along the edge of the polish to just clean it up like this, and then I can work on the top side of that. Clean that up. We're going to go ahead on this side here. You can bring it down this way too, just to even it out. But the trick is to let the brush do the work. Let the brush pull the polish. And if you keep it in a straight line with your hand and you just move the brush down the nail, you'll have a nice straight line. Look at it again. So it's a little bit tapered again on that side, so I'm just going to clean it up a bit more. Just wiping that on the alcohol swab. Let's have a look at that now. It's a little bit better. Clean that up. Okay, I'm going to work back on this again with the stripe. Up a little bit higher on this side. So these stripes can be a little bit tedious. They can take a bit of time, especially to get it exactly perfect. You can use stencils like the styling strips. However, they can cause the polish to kind of run underneath the nail, underneath the styling strip if you don't have them pressed on well enough. So just keep that in mind. So I'm just going to go back over this. But you can see how the fine tip of the brush really helps make that an easy line there. I got a bit of fuzz on the bottom. There we go. So you can see that's fairly straight. There are a couple adjustments I would make here along the bottom part of it just to make it a little bit more perfect. Get a little bit straighter. But the trick to these lines is this brush in the creativity set. It is so easy to do these lines straight when you are using this brush. And then just clean it up a little bit. And there you go. So that's a really nice straight line. So I'm going to go ahead and cure that. And I'm going to do a full cure. So what you would do is you would continue on with your nail and you would continue to space it out until you got towards the cuticle line here. And then you're going to put your last line in, and it might only be a very short line depending on how you've done your spacing, but you just need to figure out where the spacing is and then put your line in that spot. So I'll do a full cure and I'll show you what it looks like with the coat of Clearly Frisky over top. I'm just going to clean my brushes here. Really important to make sure that you're cleaning your brushes so that they don't sit close to the lamp and accidentally cure, because then that can ruin your brushes. We don't want that to happen. So I'm going to clean this one off as well. Just cleaning with my alcohol swab. So there we go. We've got a straight line using our ultrafine brush. Go ahead and apply Clearly Frisky over top. And Clearly Frisky kind of just fills in those little divots where you have added the I Pink You polish. So you can see it go over it there. And it just helps seal everything in. And then just make sure that you are capping as well. Put the lid on that. And there you go. Nice, smooth, straight line. So it's really easy to do. Like I said, the trick is using the ultra fine brush from the Creativity set. The Creativity set is such a good investment and it's really inexpensive, and you get a ton of amazing brushes and dotting tools that you can use for all sorts of amazing designs. It's a really fun set to do different things, to be creative and have fun. You can do a lot of the different nail arts using toothpicks or like the wooden cuticle pushers, but for the more fine and intricate details, it's better to use the brushes from the Creativity set. So there is the flowers, and we're almost done curing the stripes. So there we have the stripes as well, so you can see how nice and straight they are. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to answer them for you. Have fun doing flowers and straight lines. Thanks so much for watching.